Parks continue to attract millions of visitors every year, of course. For more on the industry's growth, I'm joined by Sam Gennaway. He's the author of the Disneyland Story and Universal versus Disney, the unofficial guide to American theme parks, greatest rivalry. He's also a senior associate at Katherine, Padilla and Associates. So you know a lot about theme parks, I guess, is the moral of the story. So you heard what Rochelle was talking about earlier. We got the comment from Disney. Your opinion, are theme parks guilty of charging different prices to different folks depending on where you are from?
That's pretty typical in the United States. For instance, Disneyland has a large Southern California-based audience, and during the winter season, they'll have a process where you can buy a ticket that lets you into both parks within a limited period of time. There's also deals for their Florida parks where they'll offer discounts to Florida residents. So this isn't really a strange thing outside of the United States.
But the allegations in Europe, they seem quite serious. I mean, if you're charging, for example, if you're a German buyer versus a French buyer, the difference, at least what Rochelle pointed out, was the difference of 50, 60, 70%. That seems quite a bit different.
That is, but I think that that's also if you were looking at trying to buy a package that would include hotels, transportation, other types of premium amenities as far as the package. But if you were just going to the park and you're going to stay off property, you would still probably have the same sort of access that you would have anywhere with any other person.
Okay, for the record, that Disneyland are denying these allegations. They say a lot of it is due to what they call different discounts in different neighborhoods. And I would, I guess, also include Florida and California, because if I'm not a California resident, I don't get the California discount. But let's talk about the price of these tickets. True. They are very, very expensive, whether you choose Universal Studios or Disneyland. You're expected to pay, what, $80, $90, $100 a ticket for the most part. Isn't that pricing out a lot of the working class families, the ones that probably need the vacation most?
It is very expensive. However, if you look at the value of going to a theme park compared to a professional sporting event, for example, or going skiing, it's very, very comparable to that. So it isn't as expensive as one would think. You can also get in 8 to 12 hours of value. But it is true. It is getting more and more expensive. Disney is chasing a more of a premium market. Universal has tried to take over the mass market that Disney seems to be leaving somewhat. And then there's other companies like Cedar Fair who are providing alternates such as Knott's Berry Farm that are much more affordable, or Legoland, for instance, that Merlin has.
I know one of the issues is people with kids. They tend to charge kids, you know, usually you go to these places, if you're 2 and under, you don't get charged. And then, you know, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and I know this because I've already done this, you end up paying for quite a few tickets, even though the 3 or 4-year-old isn't going to know Mickey Mouse from Minnie Mouse. Is there anything that Disney could or should do to help those type of families out?
You would like to think that that would be the case, wouldn't you now? But no, I think that their reflection is that if a child from 3 to 9-year-old can go on a certain number of rides, then they should be charged their premium wage. Universal charges a different sliding rate depending on how tall you are, because many rides have restrictions to them. So that's a little bit different of a situation. It is very, very expensive for the middle-class family. When Walt Disney first created Disneyland, his idea was to create an affordable alternative to the types of amusements that people found elsewhere, and that has not been the case. Since 1984, since Michael Eisner took over Disney, the cost of going to the parks has certainly outstripped inflation by a considerable amount, and it is very, very expensive. And just going to a typical Walt Disney World vacation could cost a family of 4 as little as $2,600 just to get into the front door, and that's a lot of money in this day and age.
Quick question, across the pond from where you are in LA, Shanghai, Disneyland, they are getting ready to put on the finishing pieces to get open for the market. It's going to be a pretty big deal. What are you expecting the response to be?
Oh, I think it will be a different type of park that Disney has compared to their other castle-type parks. It will certainly change the game in the Asian marketplace, because they're going head-to-head with Universal, who's building a park in Beijing that has very, very popular items such as the Minions and other things that are like that. So I think it's a fun time for the theme park enthusiasts. It'll also bring certain pressures on the Hong Kong Disneyland, because they're going to have to try to keep pace, and the Oriental Land company, which owns the Tokyo Disney parks, are also going to have to step up to the plate because they're going to be getting a new competition that has the same brand name that they have.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 Disneylands in Asia and only 2 in the U.S. That's interesting. Sam,
Yes.
good to see you. Thank you very much.